Hi, Dr. Patrick Gentempo here, and thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel. We have great content in store for you. I'm so excited to be here with you, and let's jump right into it. Greetings. I'm really excited to have this next conversation. I think you'll really want to lean into it. We were preambling a little bit, and I was talking about my perspective. I think we're about to see the biggest wealth transfer in the history of humanity through this pandemic. I'm not judging it's good, it's bad, the government should or shouldn't do this, but I can just say that a lot of wealth already has shifted and will continue to shift throughout what's going on right now in the crisis. So our next guest, Jeff Bishop, has some perspective on this and also some strategies that he's utilizing right now that he'd like to share. So first, Jeff, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Hey, thank you. I wish we could be in person for this.
Me too. It's just the nature of the beast now. It's like we've made several docuseries that revealed films. We've never done anything, via a Skype or Zoom or what have you. But it's the way of the world, at least for right now. And we didn't want to.
It's the way it is. I'm glad you guys are doing this. I'm a big fan of your work, by the way. You guys do great production, so I'm glad to be here today.
Thank you so much for that. It's good to be with you. Can you just, starting out, tell us, what you do and how you got to be doing what you're doing right now?
I'm the CEO of RagingBull.com. We're probably the fastest growing financial education website in the country. We have different programs with different real money traders who are in the market every day that are fully transparent on their trades, and they educate other people on their trading as they're doing it. So you can watch our real professional traders trade different strategies in the market each day. So it's a pretty unique spin on education. So we're not just teaching people, how to trade options or how to buy stocks and stuff, but we're actually doing the work. So we're in the trenches actually making trades too while we're teaching. So it's kind of like a applied education, if you will.
What did you do prior to that? Like, what got you to start Raging Bull?
Yeah, I've had a lot of jobs over the years. I had several small businesses that ended up failing or I just kind of walked away from early on. I've been with Raging Bull almost 10 years now. Prior to that, I had another company that did financial marketing. So I learned a lot. And my ultimate background, I have a finance degree and a master's degree in economics. So I'm pretty interested in the markets. I really wanted to figure out trading. I thought the college would be the way to get through that, but turns out that was not my ticket to learning about the stock market. I had to learn that on my own. So about a decade of hard knocks and learning my own way, I finally became successful and learned strategies that I could put in place over time. So that took me about 10 years of my life there. While I was doing that, I also had another financial marketing company that I had prior to Raging Bull. So I was developing strategies, and then I realized there was a need in the market from people who really wanted to see real traders out there. So there's a lot of education companies that simply teach you what a call is or what a put. They've got some basic education, but putting that to work is a whole nother thing. So we really started our company as applied education from day one, and that's kind of been our hallmark the whole time.
Well, nothing teaches like actually doing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, it's like,
my son is in finance.
You get your brakes fixed. Do you want to see someone who has just read all this about brakes and knows everything about brakes, or a mechanic who has replaced 1,000 brake pads in his life? You probably want the guy who's done this over and over. So that's what we try to bring to people. And it's not all roses, man. Wins and losses, we're able to show people what it's like to be a real trader. I mean, in difficult markets like this, it's really good to see what actual traders are doing each day, because they're dealing with the same ups and downs that everyone else is, and how they bounce back from it really is a good way that everyone can learn.
Yeah, it's kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly, right?
It's all out there.
You got to look at it all. My son who's just graduating college is graduating with a finance economics double major, and I opened a small brokerage account for him, saying, okay, let's actually see how this works in practice rather than just theory. And there's nothing that educates like that. So I'm very aligned with your philosophy.
Yeah, it's all different once you put your real money to work.
Yeah, exactly. So now let's talk about how you see things. So we're literally, I know it's very fluid at the time of this recording, which is April 1st. we're in the midst of the whole pandemic. The economic shutdown is still going on. There's a lot of uncertainty. The market's all over the place. I mean, it really is like it's a roller coaster ride. So what is your generalized macro view of what's going on right now, and what do you think we should be thinking about when it comes to our own personal wealth and finances?
Sure. So I look at things two ways. So generally, as a trader, I trade pretty short terms. I'm looking at a week or 2 weeks out, and I'm trading option strategies around that, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But on a macro level, I really think that we are in the early stages, not in the recovery stage of this thing yet. So I still think the market's got quite a ways to go here. We're going to probably retest the lows that we saw in February. So in March, I don't think we're out of the woods yet. Throwing a $2 trillion stimulus bill is certainly going to provide some firepower to give you a boost, but I don't think it's getting us out of the woods yet. As I look around, just some of the things that I look at are bankruptcies that are coming up. So as we look at things, I look at my little city around me, I see bakeries that are starting to go under already, or restaurants, some convenience stores. There's places that I can just see in my own little small town that are already filing for bankruptcy. They're shutting their doors, saying they're not going to reopen. And we're only like a month into this, if that. So I look at like a couple months out and what's going to look like across the country. So I think that's going to be a big obstacle for the economy to overcome, because there's not going to be jobs to go back to for a while. You can't just, if the restaurant around the corner folds, you can't just go back to work there. It's going to take time for that restaurant to find a new owner and ramp up again. It's going to take a while for the economy to get going again. So I think we've got a big hill ahead of us before we're going to get back to all-time highs again.
Do you think that things will go back to normal, or is there going to be a new normal in your mind as far as how things are going to look once we are back on track?
And I think that this is the kind of event that's going to have a new normal. So I think that we're going to see things that just transform our daily interactions with people. I think we're probably done with the high fives and shaking hands. I think we're probably going to see a big decline in places where there's a lot of close interactions with people. So even if there's not a pandemic at hand, even if things are fine, I think people are still going to be very standoffish. This is going to scar people mentally for a long time. So things like cruise industries and airlines, perhaps, it's going to have an impact on how people approach those industries going forward. So those things are going to have to change. We're going to do a lot more video conferencing like this. I think there's going to be people are going to get a lot more receptive to it. They're going to get really comfortable with it. And we're going to see video conferencing and telecommuting as probably it's going to get a lot more popular in the next few months. And over the next few years, I think we'll probably see a shift away from people needing to go to the office as much. They're going to get more comfortable working at home. There's going to be a lot of things out there that are just going to probably change. They're going to transform and stay that way for quite a while. So I think we need to be ready for that as investors. There's going to be winners and losers in this. So I think we need to look at what things are going to be losers and probably won't come back, but which things are going to be winners also. Where should we be looking to allocate capital now and take advantage of people really, truly panicking about the economy?
So right now, when you have people that follow you come to you and say, I just saw a bunch of my retirement or my wealth evaporate in the market, at a startling speed. Is it at the low? Should I sell now, or do I run the risk of losing more? What should I be thinking about? What kind of advice are you giving people?
Well, my first thing is that no one's got a crystal ball. So it's foolish right now to say this is the bottom, or this is the top, or this is anywhere. So I think just on a practical sense, it makes sense to start having a horizon. If you want to be a longer term investor, I think it makes a lot of sense. Me personally, that's why I'm looking at things where a longer term view. I'm looking at stocks I want to own. I'm not saying, okay, I'm pushing all my chips in right here because the market's down 30% and surely it can't go any lower. Well, if you look at history, markets can go a lot lower than 30%. So I don't want to push all my chips here at 30% and the market drops another 50 or 60% lower. So I think it makes sense to start finding and identifying the key companies that you want to be involved with and start scaling in. So maybe you set aside the amount of money you have, maybe it's the money you have left, and start saying, I want to put it to work, this amount of money each week or each month. I want to start buying these stocks no matter where they're at. And in 6 months or a year, maybe you've established the positions you want to be. You're going to have a nice blended average. You're not going to get the absolute high or low, but I think you have a good position at that time. So I think you need to identify the companies you want to be with and look for opportunity to start scaling into those. And don't try to go all in. Don't try to time the top or bottom. It's just way too difficult right now.
Yeah, I think that's been a universal sentiment from many of the experts is like, nobody's got a crystal ball. And
I rode through the dot-com bubble. I rode through the financial crisis and 08 and all that. So I know how these things work, and they are so violent to trade. It looks easy in hindsight. You say, oh, well, there was the bottom, and then it magically rebounded. When you're in the trenches in these things, it's just not that easy. It's gut-wrenching. And you're seeing the portfolios move 10% a day, and you don't have any sense of what's going on. And there's days that you think the economy is actually going to collapse and we're not going to recover from it. So you go through all these mental challenges along the way, and it really inhibits you as an investor. I think you need to step back and have a bigger picture and say, okay, you know what? For me, actually, I don't think Apple is going out of business. I think Apple is going to be a key of the foundation of the economy going forward. So I want to own Apple around this price, maybe a little lower, maybe a little higher. I don't know, but I think Apple is going to be here in 2 or 3 years, and it's going to dominate. So I want to take advantage of lower prices. So that's one example. So you want to start putting money to work on the companies that you think have the best opportunity to be, the ones that be industry leaders and are really going to dominate coming out of this. So I think it makes sense to put your money to work. Otherwise, start buying guns, go store up food, and go hide in a cave, because there's really 2 options here. The economy is doomed, or we're going to get through it, and there's going to be some clear winners. And history's always proved that we're going to get through it, and I believe that'll be the case too.
Thanks so much for being here and watching that video. And can I ask you to please subscribe to our channel so you can find out when we're posting new content. You'll be alerted right away when we do. To share this with people you think might benefit from the information, and certainly it helps us if you like the video. So if you like what you just saw, go ahead and hit that like button. And again, thank you so much for being here with me right now.